We are people of determination. The name was not just a description, but the beginning of an empowerment story. But the decision was the beginning of the journey. We transformed empowerment into a smart system and designed accessibility in the easiest ways, from evaluation to qualification, from an idea to global reach.
To welcome you to the World Congress on Rehabilitation.
We are the ones who create the moment. From Abu Dhabi to everywhere that sees inclusion as a path to a better future for all. We are people of determination, proving that empowerment makes a real difference. From Abu Dhabi, the Zayed Higher Organization for People of Determination lights the path of empowerment, opening doors to real opportunities that embody inclusion and reinforce the meaning of accessibility for all.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues and advocates. My name is Nasreen Al-Harmoudi. I work as an advisor in Zayed Higher Organization for People of Determination, your moderator for today's session. Welcome to this special COSP18 side event organized by the Zayed Higher Organization for People of Determination in collaboration with the Permanent Mission of the United Arab Emirates to the United Nations and the Rehabilitation International. I would like to bring to your attention that in the UAE, People of Determination refers to individuals with disabilities. Today's dialogue showcases global perspective and local innovation in advancing the CRPD, titled Empowering Inclusive Development Through Disability, Inclusive Action and Partnership. In that spirit, we are honored to hear a pre-recorded welcome note from His Excellency Abdullah Al-Hamidan, Secretary General of the Zayed Higher Organization for People of Determination and Vice President of Rehabilitation International MENA region. Let's watch his welcome note.
Dear Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates and esteemed partners, warm greetings from Abu Dhabi. While I regret not being with you in person, I'm truly honored to share this message at such a pivotal gathering, one that reaffirms our collective responsibility to advance the rights, inclusion, and empowerment of persons with disabilities worldwide. At Zayed Higher Organization, inclusion is more than a vision. It's an active commitment woven into the system we design, the partnerships we build, and the futures we help shape. With the support of the UAE leadership and through our collaboration with RI Global and the UAE Permanent Mission, we are proud to co-lead this side event, highlighting innovative pathways to inclusive employment, education, and accessibility. This is a time for action, grounded in equity, driven by innovation, and guided by the lived experience of people of determination. Let us ensure that no one is left behind in the development agenda, not in a policy, not in a practice, and not in opportunity. And at the end, I would like to thank each of you for your presence, your passion, and your partnership. May this gathering inspire lasting change far beyond these walls. Abdullah Al-Hamidan, Secretary General of Zayed High Organization for People of Determination, Abu Dhabi, UAE.
Mark on fostering multi-stakeholders partnership to strengthen CRPD implementation by Professor Christoph Gutenberg, President of Rehabilitation International. Dr. Gutenberg, you may start.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, United Arab Emirates Mission. Thank you very much, Zayed Higher Organization, to organize and sponsor this important event together with Rehabilitation International. Before I talk about the multi-stakeholder partnership and its relevance, I just wanted to give a few introductory words on Rehabilitation International. Rehabilitation International is a worldwide organization working for the rights of persons with disabilities or people of determination. It was founded in 1922 in Ohio, United States, as the International Society for Crippled Children. But a lot of things happened in the meantime, and since 1972, the name of the organization was changed into Rehabilitation International. The organization now has members in around 100 countries around the world. Some milestones of RI's history are the support of birth of the Paralympic Games, the creation of the international symbol of access, the Charter of the Third Millennium, and the promotion and adoption and the implementation of the UN Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disability. Philosophically, Rehabilitation International works towards strengthening rehabilitation as a strategy to support the empowerment of persons with disability to achieve optimal functioning according their own life concept. On the other hand, another important principle is inclusion. Inclusion is a societal approach to enable and to give the opportunity for persons in need to take fully part in the society. So, finally, we have three main goals. First, high-quality rehabilitation services must be accessible and affordable for every person in need in order to achieve optimal functioning in interaction with the society. And let me add, this goes far beyond health. It includes all other areas of life, like education, like leisure and sports, and many other aspects of societal life. Second, societies must be inclusive in order to ensure or enable full participation of all persons with disability in society equal with others. And this also is a strategy that goes beyond on the specific need, but is a principle of all society. And number three, human rights must be respected without any exception, which includes the implementation of the UN Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disability, which still is the most important document that supports our work. Reflecting the necessity of multi-stakeholder partnership to strengthen CRPD implementation, the starting point almost always must refer to the needs of persons experiencing disability. This requires complex actions. For instance, the implementation of the principles of the UNCRPD in legislation to get access to inclusive health and rehabilitation services, as well as to inclusive education, sports, cultural activities, political and religious life, and all other societal activities. Other important factors, and we have to discuss this today, are the availability of products with universal design, for instance, products of daily living and products for assistance for persons with disability. This also includes barrier-free environments and inclusive societal attitudes. Looking at a simplified model, and I cannot show you the slide today, but I can explain you the model because it is quite easy to understand. A stakeholder map must include 4 main groups to be involved. First, governments. Second, civil society organizations. Third, the private sector. And fourth, academic and research institutions. The role of state parties mainly consists in the implementation of the UN CRPD in all national laws, regulations, standards, the provision of inclusive public services, fostering accessibility and universal design in all life areas, including labor and employment, as well as to work towards inclusive societal attitudes and to fight against segregation and discrimination. This is the main activity in this COSP meeting, so I do not need to go more into detail. The private sector shall take responsibility to apply the principles of universal design in all products. This includes information technology and AI. This also must include the accessibility of devices that guarantee the access to these applications. The design and the production of assistive technologies is one of the responsibilities mostly of the private sector. And it must include the aspect of persons with disability. For me, it is a very important principle that before starting to design a new product, the problem must be clearly described, and this is a task of potential users. This must include persons with disability in the design and production process. Persons with disability in the private sector should also be included in all phases of the development, production, testing, and the quality management. And last but not least, also the private sector is responsible to take care for an inclusive working environment, including persons with disability. I would like to give a short example for these kind of developments. For instance, the Swiss Paraplegic Center and a group of IT specialists designed an instrument for patients with paraplegia to communicate in social media via a glass, an interactive glass, so even they cannot speak or use the arms, they can use social media. Another example for the private and public partnership is the development of a device, a myoelectric prosthesis for patients that have X-articulation of the shoulder. It is a collaboration with surgeons who repose the nerves to the breast muscle, and then a device that transforms this into the steering of the artificial hand. Those are fantastic examples in collaboration of the private sector with public activities. The role of civil society is to raise the voice for the rights of persons with disabilities, to influence the development of laws, standards, and regulations, and to provide expertise for the development of products. Furthermore, civil society organizations must take informal control over the CRPD implementation process and contribute to awareness raising, changing mindsets. We need an inclusive society, and we need to support the principle of non-discrimination. Academic institutions, this is the last one, shall support these processes by collecting data on the number of persons with disability, their life situation, and to develop solutions for existing problems. This is one of the requirements of an evidence-based decision-making or evidence-based policy. They also shall work on developing technical solutions in rehabilitation interventions and to evaluate the impact of the interventions, strategies, and other measures. Yeah. One last sentence. One good practice example is the International Spinal Cord Injury Study that very clearly described, based on data, the life situation and could directly be transformed into policy briefs that have been presented to the ministries in a number of countries. All these four sectors must collaborate and must communicate on a defined standard continuously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gutenberg. To continue this momentum, we now welcome His Excellency Abdullah Al-Kamali, Executive Director of the People of Determination Sector at Zaid Higher Organization, to give his remarks on advancing disability-inclusive development, success stories, and a solution. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thanks, Nasreen. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about inclusion, we are not just talking about access to a job, a school, or a service. We are talking about the right of every human being to live with dignity and to be valid. In the UAE, we started not from zero, but from belief. I believe that people of determination carry potential if the only society creates the space that believe in them. Before I share facts and numbers, allow me to invite you to witness just 90 seconds of the reality. لا مو بهالفيديو الثاني.
And esteemed partner.
كل حلم يبدأ بالخطوة، كل طموح يتحقق بالإرادة. أنتم محرك التمييز، الإسناد التغيير، والتحقيق المستحيل.
أنا اسمي فتحية. أنا أشتغل في مصنع الجبن من 10 سنوات. خلال هذه السنة أنتجت 400 علبة لبنة، أكثر من 40 علبة جبنة.
أنا اسمي مريم داعر وتحياتي.
أنا أشتغل في كوفي النحلة من 5 سنوات. شاركت في أكثر من 30 فعالية. أنا اسمي هزاع المحيوبي.
أنا ياسر زعابي. أنا موظف ورشة طباعة. إنتاجنا 30,000 علاقات وطاقة.
أنا شيماء إبراهيم من ورشة الزهور. أنا في ورشة الزهور أشتغل 5 سنوات. أنا ليل اليوم سويت أكثر من 1000 باقة ورد طبيعي وصناعي.
At Zaid organization in Abu Dhabi, we didn't want to just talk about empowerment. We wanted to build a system where people of determination are the ones who bake, craft, design, and lead. We developed the UAE's first national vocational qualification, especially for persons with disabilities. After more than 700 hours of training, our graduates receive formal certificate unlocking access to the real job. Beyond the certificates, we care about impact. From 3D printing assistive tools to assembly hearing aids to making world-class chocolates, our people of determination are building products with pride. This isn't charity, it is innovation. And when society sees that what we can do, the mindset shifts from sympathy to partnership. We operate 23 centers across Abu Dhabi, in cities, villages, and remote regions, so that no one is left behind. We believe that disability is not the absence of ability, it is the presence of untapped potential. So today, I leave you with a call. Let us invest not only in policies, but in people. Let us not ask what they need, but what they are capable of. And let us build a world that isn't just accessible, but inclusive and human. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Madan Kundu, Deputy Vice President of Rehabilitation International North America, to give his remarks on Article 27, Work and Employment.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and my colleagues. Now, Article 27 talks about work and employment. But the question, why should we emphasize work in rehabilitation? Because work is considered therapeutic, essential element who leads to physiological survival and psychological well-being in the contemporary society. If you work, that means you have a status in the society, you have a self-confidence, and you have a rights in the society in good place. People will respect you. But you are not employed, nobody cares about it. So our work should be how to gain gainful employment and career building prospect for people with disability. I'll be focusing mostly on transition students with disabilities. According to UNCRPD Article 27, it talks about how to work in an inclusive environment with rights and privileges like everybody else. And also it talks about importance of mainstream disability issues in sustainable development. So disability is both cause and consequences of poverty. About 80% of people with disabilities in the world live in low-income families, countries, low-income countries, and they experience socioeconomic disadvantage and denial of rights. So while I'm giving attention to Article 27, but Article 25, health, and Article 24, education, and Article 27, these are very interrelated. One builds on the other. So what are the challenges in UNCRPD? Look at this World Report on Disability, whose perspective the 8 billion population, and people with disabilities in the world, 1.3 billion, that is 16%. That includes 230 million children. So persons with disability in any country could be 16%, but in developing nation, Asia and Africa, it is somewhere between 20 to 25%, because it depends on the definition of disability. So these are our challenges. Now, one of the major challenges is high unemployment rate people with disabilities. That means you need to provide proper vocational training, education, and rehabilitation, and also provide assistive technology, post-employment follow-up services, and excellent vocational decision-making leading to a good career development. And the second challenge is professional preparation of vocational rehabilitation service providers. Are they qualified to serve quality services to consumers with disabilities? So there is a major gap in between this. So UNCR will be measured on these two dimensions. Of course, there are many other dimensions to measure the outcome. Okay, now I'm going to talk about some skills. That what kind of skills we need to build up in our persons with disability is a universal skill. Employability is a concept, is the capacity of an individual to function in a particular occupation and work situation. So there are two types of employability, general employability skills and specific employability skill. General employability skills means very simple, you know all of this, like grooming, hygiene, attendance, punctuality, safety concerns, frustration, work stimulation. These are common, but do we emphasize to our people with disabilities to improve this secondary skills level? Often we don't. They have the skills to do the work, but how to keep the job, that's a different thing. Why people fired from jobs? Because they cannot get along with the coworkers and cannot receive instruction from supervisors, and quality and quantity. So these skills are not job specific, it's universal. Some jobs require the same kind of general, this kind of skill, that's called general work personality. So clients' behavior and attitude in this skills area are important predicting in job maintenance behavior. So there are some specific employability skills can be determined by called maximum behavior that tests by the intelligence skills, aptitude skills, achievement, and etc. Okay, now the question is, this behavior can also be measured by non-test techniques like interviews, simulate an actual work sample that was shown in the picture, So those kind of activity. Placeability, another big concept. Placeability is the capacity of an individual with his or her assets and liabilities to become employed, given options of the current job market. That means he can obtain the job and retain the job. How does it relate to us? You can fall in love with somebody, get married, but can you maintain the marriage going? That is the test. That is our soft skill that has to emphasize.
That's exactly what's happening with people.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. But it has little to do with the person's ability to perform the work. He has the excellent skill, good grade or whatever, but the soft skill, that counts. So that's what we need to pay attention. Now talk about the transition. Are you talking about transition from school to employment? That is one. And the transition from school to post-secondary institution and employment, leading to career building. So what do we see? I had excellent graph, but I cannot show you. Health, education, employment, they all work in a silos. That means our life stage development, and they're all development stages, but this is disconnected in the society. One do not know what the other one is doing. But that's why we should have a transition connected with individual, group, and lifespan development. So that means collaboration, all the agencies in NGOs or governmental agencies, whatever, that we should collaborate together. Mr. Christopher mentioned about it, that we need to collaborate. And in that way, the outcome for the CRPD will be measurable. Okay, now challenge 2. The people who serve them, are they qualified to serve them? Employment is not just you train something for 3 months and 6 months and place them in a job, and they come back to you as a revolving door. So you're not training the way it should be, as you do for your own non-disabled children. So that's why you have to pay attention. So in every field, rehabilitation counseling, case management, disability, etc., etc. So all these physical therapy, occupational, they need to be trained and qualified. They should have a national certification, state licenses. Then only they are qualified to serve. Because the study shows that people who got master's degree in rehabilitation counseling, they do better job placement than any other. And it is scientifically evidence-based research. And I have given you 2 handouts. You study this, then you will see what I'm talking about. So that means this professional needs to get a certificate, diploma, bachelor's, master's, PhD degree in rehabilitation and develop infrastructure in the university or whatever that will give a development of evidence-based research infrastructure. Certification license is okay. Then I'm talking about a systems approach to placement. So systems approach to placement talks about 8 different subsystems. I'm going to talk about just one. Client, you have the handout, you have the picture. Suppose client system, client age, gender, education level, disability, different types of disability, they react and interact within the subsystems, and they all react and interact other subsystems. This employment is done very complexly. It's a very complex phenomenon. It is not just give a job to a client. Okay, I have the instrument is there, and it shows that we did the study in USA, Taiwan, and Japan. And the internal consistency reliability corn branch alpha shows 0.8 to 0.9. That means it's highly reliable across culture. So that you can measure in order to develop a plan for your client. And also did further factor analysis, we collapsed into a 6 subsystem. It shows even a higher level of reliability. Okay, now what opportunities do we have to resolve this issue? Yes, sir. Yes, sure. UNCRPD, World Report on Disability, ICF, ILO conventions on rehabilitation employment, and community-based rehabilitation. All these instruments for us to use it for improve the quality of life people with disabilities. And then also in local level, you have national, state, and local laws, disability-related laws, return to work provision, and each city and state has governors committee on persons with disability, mayor committee disabilities. Now, how is the outcome measure? Outcome measure will be multi-level. Did your client get the education, proper education? Did he find the employment with benefits? What is this employment status, etc.? And then there are instruments that we mentioned, separate systems approach to placement, you can use to guide your client for employment issues. There should be a relationship between theory, research, and practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Togndo. Next, we turn to a powerful personal story, A Journey in Advancing Sports for All by Mr. Hamad Al-Darmaki, who has a hearing disability. Mr. Hamad, you may start.
Yes, so I'd like to discuss my journey in the UAE. I am a deaf person and was born there in the UAE and went to school there. The government then sent me to study here in the United States. And after some time, I went to university and returned home to UAE. And at that time, I wasn't certain what I wanted to do, so I decided to establish a football league. And at that time, it was a deaf association that I directed. And as that went on, I also was in discussion with universities about the needs of the deaf students for educational opportunities and educational access to four-year degrees. So I continued to promote that as a part of what I was doing in my work. So I received an award at that time and got and received another diploma at that same time as I continued to develop my abilities to sign with the deaf people who were there, and we continued to advance our soccer association and football association. But eventually we did win the championship through our determination, and we went to the World Federation of the Deaf as well and won at Deaf Olympics as well. And we were able to bring the award home as a result of our efforts. So we did that in 2027, and we received that at the World Congress, an award for our efforts.
Thank you, Hamad. Thank you for sharing your personal journey, Hamad. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Christian Shiro to deliver her speech on empowering the transition of young adults with IDD. It's a pleasure to welcome you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this time. I want to thank His Excellency. I want to thank Rehabilitation International for allowing this presentation, and the Zayed Higher Organization. And I was kind of pleased in Christoph's remarks, with talking about the origins of Rehab International coming from a children's focus into adulthood, because I think this is what we're talking about, the lifespan activities. We're talking about, in the case of empowerment and the transition of young adults, they have to be first younger adults, and then they grow and they grow and they grow. But often what happens when they come out of a secondary education in many countries is all of a sudden we stop working with them, we stop thinking about them. It's like somehow they disappear in terms of the way that people go about their daily lives. So what I'd like to do is to have a video played, which I believe is available, about the work that we do at the University of Memphis Institute on Disability in inclusive higher education, a phenomenon I will share more about with you right after the video. Tiger Life is a program in inclusive higher education for young adults with intellectual disabilities. The purpose is to give them skills to be able to find a job.
If we could get that individual to grow, mature, and understand the world of work much better through our programs, their success rate in finding employment after completing the program triples.
7 out of 10, as opposed to 2 out of 10, actually go to real competitive jobs, make an income that is substantial enough to live independently if they want to live independently.
It's a great place to go to. Tiger Life has taught us how to be preparing for the job industry.
When you live on your own, you have to pay bills and you have to help out with your family.
This movement has gone from people not even being wanted to be in the building to being at universities across the country.
We're funded very differently. We do have those wraparound expenses that far exceed what a traditional university student has. And those wraparound expenses are not entirely covered by tuition. We have to be able to incorporate your help to be able to keep us providing a level of service through employment, advocacy, and independence.
Well, me, I'm glad I found Tiger Life because they helped me a lot, how to find jobs and stuff, how they teach me about the job skills.
You're giving and providing an opportunity for an individual to make a difference in that community.
Real young adults. These are young adults with an interest in life. They're an interest in living independently. They're interested in having a competitive job, and that's what it's really all about. So at the University of Memphis Institute on Disability, we are an academic institution, obviously. Again, this is an important part of the whole picture. Universities and academics are a very important part of the research, the data that we collect, and I'll tell you a little bit about some of that, but not a whole lot because I know I don't have a long time to talk. But collecting data is very important, and using that in developing programming is important. We also provide career development and job placement services, and then we have transition programs. And Tiger Life, you heard the word mentioned there, is the name of our program for young adults, empowering them to come to a university campus, to be treated as peers with typical students on campus, even though they're neurodivergent, and to use that to develop social skills and develop job skills, and then go out and become employed. So Tiger Life is our name for our program, but the programs have different names across the United States and internationally. This is a phenomenon that is growing internationally, and I'll again comment a little bit about that. What is inclusive higher education? Well, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not just special ed at college. That is not what it is. This is way beyond that. This is treating them as peers, treating them as young adults. They're special because they are people of determination, as the UAE would say, people with disabilities, but they are treated as equals on campus. So the students that we admit will be on the campus about 4 semesters. Some of the programs in the United States are a little bit longer. They are non-degree seeking, and we're very upfront about that. They are there to learn how to become adults and to get a job. Typical age range is between 18 and 29 years of age in the United States, closer to the 18 to 19 because we want them to be close to the age of the typical students on campus. They may be enrolling in college classes for credit or for audit. They may be doing internships at places that will either pay them or give them a job when they finish. They may be doing clubs and activities and being with the other students, campus organizations, fraternities, sororities, different groups that put together sports activities, etc. And very, very important, and this has been mentioned by several of the speakers, and I'm sure will be mentioned by all, is this goal of living independently. So we are very lucky this summer we are starting our first residential program where the students can live in the dorms and can live on the campus, and that will continue once the pilot is over this summer. So this is a great achievement for us. And most importantly, the focus on employment and this transition and empowerment of work after graduation. So I don't want to only talk about our program, although I talk about it a lot. Then in the United States, and for those of you that are interested in learning more about this, you can go to the website Think College, 2 words, Think College. And that will show you about all the programs that are in existence in the United States. So back in 2004, there were only 25 programs like this in academic institutions across the country. Back in 2009, which was right after the United States allowed our students to have financial aid and support through the Pell Grant and those other opportunities that other university students are given, it went up to 149 universities that engaged in this. As of 2020, 304, and that number continues to grow every year. There is a program in every state in the United States except Wyoming. I don't know what's wrong with Wyoming, but they'll get it eventually. They'll figure it out. In New York, the state that we're in, there are 32 programs. Florida, 26, California, 22, Texas, 19. In the state of Tennessee, which doesn't have a huge population, we're about 5 million people, we have 8 programs currently. So the universities are figuring this out. Important universities like Vanderbilt University and many of the what we call Carnegie R1 institutions, 14% of the Carnegie R1 institutions in the U.S. have programs like Tiger Life in inclusive higher education. So it's not a small number. And this is, as I said, an ongoing phenomenon. So the way that, that this happens and is developed is that the programs in the United States have to be recognized as comprehensive transition programs, CTPs. That's a credential approved through the Department of Education that shows that we have a standardized curriculum. The curriculum is developed by people connected to Think College, a committee that puts together the standard curriculum. But the curriculum isn't the only important thing. It's not the curriculum, it's the attitude. It's the fact that they are accepted and that they have, in spite of having an IEP, are going to be treated as typical students on campus. The kinds of activities, as I said, have to do with all of the things that everybody else on campus does, and now at our program, including living on campus. So let me just say how successful these are, and I'm using employment as the way that we're determining success, because there are many ways to determine success. Our program feels that this transition to employment is the ultimate success. Competitive, integrative employment, a real job, not a sheltered job, at a living wage, and full-time. This is what we aim for. Not a part of a job, but a full job. So in the state of Tennessee, before programs, well, still even for the general public, 16.6% of people who are neurodivergent, who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, have this competitive integrative employment outcome. In the United States overall, a little over 20%. In the programs that have the CTP designation that I told you about by the Department of Education, 60%. In our program, Tiger Life, 70%. That means 7 out of 10 of them go on to full competitive employment. And we're working on the other 30%. They'll get there eventually. So again, we've told you some of the student stories in the video. 86% of our students go to completion of the program. We lose very few of them that start. We've graduated 329 in about 10 years of work on this. This is an international phenomenon. It started actually in Canada in the mid-90s, so this is not only just the US. Ireland was as early as 2004 at Trinity, the most prestigious university in Dublin. There are programs in the West Indies, in Spain, literally beginning all over the world. And I hope that those of you that have influence can talk to your academics, can talk to your universities and say, this is the next step. This is not special ed anymore. This is inclusive higher education. And that's where we want our young people to go so that they can really have truly independent lives as their peers do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Krisan. Please join me to welcome Ms. Mira Al-Shamsi, genomic geneticist analyst at Zaid Higher Organization and Vice Chair Health and Functioning Commission at Rehabilitation International, who will speak about shaping disability, inclusive health and rehabilitation.
I'm honored to be here today on behalf of the United Arab Emirates and Zaid Higher Organization for People of Determination. Inclusive health is not a favor, it's a right. Health system must be built with and for persons with disabilities. Today, I'll highlight Abu Dhabi approach, one rooted in innovation, justice, and equity. Let's begin with facts. Around 15% of the world population lives with disability. Nearly 1/3 of the global population needs rehabilitation, and most receive none. These figures demand action, and in Abu Dhabi, action begins at birth. Our strategy supports individuals with disability across the lifespan. It begins with prevention through mandatory genetics and premarital screening. From there, we focus on early detection, a newborn and hearing vision screening under 312 Early Detection Program. Through the 312 Early Detection Program, launched in 2018, every newborn is screened between 0 to 3 months for risk for disability. By the end of 2022, more than 21,000 infants have already been assessed, and we identified 121 cases of disability. And now, genetic screening is mandatory for marriage, promoting early awareness and prevention. We have integrated treatment, rehabilitation, and including telemedicine, e-rehabilitation services throughout our healthcare. This is not a pathway, it's a promise for lifelong. Our message is simple, is act early for prevention. At Zaid Higher Organization for People of Determination, we have built a lifelong ecosystem of care that starts with early detection and intervention, extend to education, vocational training, and rehabilitation. Through each stage, individuals receive therapy, counseling, support services tailored to their needs. Our goal is not inclusion. It's just a lifelong empowerment. We want every person to keep learning, contributing, thriving. We believe innovation must serve people. We created a Smart Step app screening tool that helps detect developmental delay from home. Additionally, our Smart Lab integrated 11 robotic rehabilitation devices into one accessible therapy hub, and it's the first in the Middle East. As part of our commitment to inclusive health and precise care, Zaid Higher Organization actively contributes to the Emirati genome. So far, we have 41% of the ZHO and their families have been participated. This data is not a number. It's a foundation for personalized and equipped healthcare tailored to the needs of persons with disabilities. So from the early screening to inclusive healthcare, from robotic to inclusive integrated community care, we are designing the future that works for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mira. To conclude this side event, we are inviting Ms. Maryam Al-Qubaisi as MS Ambassador, Disability Rights Advocate, to give a story of self-driven empowerment. Please, Maryam.
Thank you, Nasreen. I'm very delighted. Thank you, Nasreen. I'm very delightful to be here. My name is Maryam Al-Qubaisi. I'm a 29-year-old Emirati woman living with multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed at just 17, at an age where most people are stepping into adulthood, with excitements and plans for the future. I was learning how to navigate a body that no longer moved the way it used to, and a world that wasn't built to include me. MS has changed the course of my life, but it didn't end my dreams. It reshaped them. What started as a personal challenge became a public mission. I was determined not to only live fully, but to advocate fiercely for myself and for others whose challenges are often invisible, misunderstood, or ignored. As a person with disability, or as we say in the UAE, a person of determination, I've become to learn that the most disabling barriers are not physical, they are social. They appear in an accessible building, but also in based attitudes. They show up in silence around chronic illnesses and the lack of representation in decision-making spaces. This is why I became an MS ambassador, to raise awareness, challenge stigma, and help build a world that leads with inclusion. One of the projects I'm proudest to be part of in my role as an MS ambassador is the Universal Design for Inclusion program, developed by the UAE National MS Society. This initiative challenged university students to create culturally relevant, accessible solutions to real-life mobility, cognitive and communication challenges faced by people with disability. I was honored to serve as an evaluator in the program and to lead empathy workshop that gave students first-hand insight into the barriers we live with daily. Through this program, we're witnessing the power of innovation, when inclusion is the goal from the very beginning. Like many people with disabilities, I rely on assistive technology every day, from mobility aids to digital tools that supports independence. But inclusion can't stop there. I believe the future lies in bridging assistive tools with advanced technologies, from AI to wearable devices, so that innovation doesn't move fast, it moves forward with everyone in hand. These technologies hold incredible potential, but only if they are made affordable, accessible, and responsive to the actual needs of users. True progress means designing technology including people with disabilities, not just for them, because true accessibility is proactive, not reactive. My advocacy has taken me to international stages, including the World Congress on Rehabilitation, but also to deeply personal spaces, classrooms, art galleries, wellness events, and community circles. Whether through public speaking or my social media platforms, I try to show that life with MS really looks like, not filtered through pity or false inspiration, but through possibility, power, and pride. I travel, explore, and document my experiences online, not to inspire for the sake of it, but to challenge stereotypes and redefine what's possible for people like me. A life with disability is just not a life with limitation. It can be rich, empowered, and joyfully lived. Being here at the United Nations is more than an honor. It is a reminder that our stories, the real, messy, resilient ones, belong in global conversations, because policy means nothing if it doesn't reflect the people it's meant to serve. I am proud to come from the UAE, where our leadership has taken bold steps to promote inclusion, empower people with disabilities, and invest in innovative, human-centered solutions. I am especially proud to be here through the support of Zayed Higher Organization, an organization that doesn't just advocate for people with disabilities, but actively create spaces for us to lead, shape dialogue, and influence the future. I stand here today not despite my diagnosis, but because of it. MS gave me purpose, advocacy gave me strength, and inclusion, real lived inclusion, is what gives all of us a future worth building. Thank you.
Thank you, Maryam. Thank you. We're proud to hear your story. As we reach to the end of the session, allow me first to thank each of our speaker and guests for their dedication and advocacy. We would like to take this opportunity to share a formal invitation for International Journal of Rehabilitation and Disability Studies, launched in partnership with Zayed Higher Organization for People of Determination and Rehabilitation International. The journal is dedicated to advancing impactful research that improves the lives of persons with disabilities worldwide. Please visit the website and learn from the flyers. At the end, this has been more than conversation. It's a global call for action. Let us carry forward the momentum, continue to collaboration, push boundaries, and lead with inclusion in everything we do. Thank you. There is a gesture from our people of disabilities. There is a tote bags that's made by them. It's a souvenir from Abu Dhabi, UAE.